Man wins Powerball, ex-wife gets last laugh. Everyone has fantasized about hitting the big prize at the lottery at least once in their lifetime. For some people, it's a way of putting an end to their struggles and financial worries, others use the money to help out their friends and relatives, others just indulge in a lavish lifestyle and end up penniless shortly after. Some, however, don't even get to smell a whiff of the price. With more money come more problems, either in the form of leechers, taxes, or haunting debts from the past. That's what happened to the protagonist of this story. Lamar Walker's life hadn't been easy. He was born and raised in the slums of Statesville, North Carolina. There wasn't a lot of money in the house, he had to start finding ways to pay the bills very early in his life. If that kid was told that he would win millions of dollars in the lottery years later, he probably would have had a hard time believing it. His life back then was a hustle, and it didn't seem like the struggle would end anytime soon. But when it finally happened, Lamar was already a 34-year-old man. Behind him were years of stories, grievances, and struggles he had to overcome. Little did he know that his fortune was about to change for a minute. However, one thing his mom used to say was that the same thing to make you laugh will make you cry. And Lamar would learn that the hard way. It happened like this. One morning, Lamar woke up, got in his car, and stopped by the nearest gas station. He didn't usually gamble, but this time, perhaps moved by some force of destiny, he bought one lottery ticket. He almost forgot about it until a few weeks later when he received an unexpected email. His first thought was that it was a scam, he didn't even remember having bought the lottery ticket. But slowly, he came back to his senses and he recalled that ticket that he had bought some weeks ago. He had been the winner of a prize worth $1 million. After first reading the mail, his mind went blank for a few minutes. He couldn't believe it. It seemed like he was finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. After all his struggles, all his financial worries, all his debts, all the worrying all day about ways to make money and pay the bills, were finally over. Little did he know that his troubles were far from over. At least he managed to have a few weeks of euphoria, fantasizing about all the ways he would spend his million. But he still had a long administrative process ahead of him that would be crucial in whether he would be able to spend the prize the way he wanted or not. First, he had to decide if he wanted to take his prize in a lump sum of $700,000 after taxes or have the million spread out on regular payments across 30 years. Lamar chose the first option. He couldn't wait to have that fortune in his hands, and he was already making plans on how to enjoy it. However, someone from his past and the courts of justice had other plans for him. One of Lamar's past rough experiences was a long and difficult separation. He had an ex-wife, Alicia, and 4 children who lived with their mother. It had been 2 years since Lamar and Alicia got divorced. Still, their disagreements hadn't ended there. Lamar's difficult financial situation, or so had he argued, made it impossible for him to pay the due alimony and child support. After word got around that he had got his hands on a real fortune, Alicia had filed a suit to get what she was entitled to. One might think that it was only fair for him to pay what he owed his ex-wife and his children. But that wasn't the whole story. As it has been said before, Lamar and Alicia's separation had been long and difficult. And it seems that on occasion, their disagreements and arguments were just too complex to be solved through dialogue. Alicia had accused Lamar of trashing some goods of her property during one of their fights while they were going through the divorce process. Was she telling the truth? Apparently, she was. Lamar was found guilty of crashing one foreign car that was under Alicia's name during one of their heated arguments, as well as throwing some of her jewelry in Bogue's sound. This all happened during the divorce process. It wasn't very difficult to prove these deliberate actions against Alicia's property. Lamar had filmed himself while committing them and had uploaded the videos to his social media. So it wasn't difficult at all for the courts of justice to find him guilty of those offenses and sentence him to pay the worth of those items, which, on top of the due alimony and child support, made the total sum of $770,000. Doing the math, this left Lamar with only $30,000. Of course, much less than he initially expected. Lamar, of course, wasn't happy with the court's decision. He launched a campaign on social media to protest against what he regarded as an unfair resolution. However, he soon saw that the best for him was to accept what the judges said and pay his wife and children what they deserved. Even if it cost him almost all of his prize. And that is what happened. Alicia and her 4 children received $770,000, which came in really handy, and Lamar at least finally got rid of his biggest debt. Do you think that what happened was fair? Or maybe there is another side to the divorce story and we should hear Lamar's version of it?